Right, so two trips down south in consecutive weeks. Now, Taylor, two good wins as well. You must be really pleased with the effort today.
Yeah, I thought today's effort probably built on what we were doing last week. I thought Glenorchy, the first half of the first and the first half of the second quarter, I thought were probably dominant around the stoppage. I think they got 2 goals up and halfway through the second. But in both of those terms, we were able to fight and grind back into the contest. And I thought after half time, our run and carry was quite good. Finally put some scoreboard pressure on.
So do you think it really was just a matter of soaking up the pressure, Glenorchy threw at you early, and then just being able to work off that later on in the game?
I think so, yeah. We knew it was going to happen, and with the conditions that we had today, it was pretty boggy inside. So we just had to grind it out. We knew they were going to come and they were going to have periods of momentum where they were going to get the ball forward, and they're dangerous when they do. But we just had to grind it out. And I thought our mids, Brad, Josh Ponting and Mark Osh particularly, probably got on top halfway through that second and probably never looked back.
Some of the ball movement looked really good, particularly in that second half, moving inside 50 with, likes of Sharon Egger, Tom Bennett, yourself, Brad Cox-Goodyear. You must be really pleased. You've got so many guys who can, I guess, make those decisions heading inside 50 to present for your guys up there. Yeah,
we're getting a good spread of players that can play in different positions. I said that last week. So we threw Fletcher Bennett back again in the second half and Tom Donnelly forward. Obviously Jordan and Bo Sharman played in the wing and then they went forward as well. So just a mix and match. And ball going inside 50 in the third was pretty good. And then the last, I thought we got held up a little bit as well. We didn't have the run in our legs, probably because we were 2 or 3 rotations down. Going inside 50 was probably better than previous weeks.
Just touched on it there with Jay Foon, obviously being stretchered off and taken to hospital. Can you give us an update on his condition?
So Jay's gone in for x-rays and scans now for his neck and back region, I believe. So he was okay, he was conscious, he was able to move arms and legs and limbs and whatnot, but just didn't want to move his neck and pretty precautious there. So he went off to hospital straight away.
He was a pretty key figure in the group. You could see a lot of the guys getting around him as he was being stretched off the field. From then on in the game, it looked like you guys really were able to get on top. Do you think something like seeing someone like that go down injured, kind of rallying around and lifting as a group?
Yeah, well, I hope it doesn't take that every week. But we're a pretty tight group and we're a pretty tight club. So any time a soldier of ours goes down like that, we come together and we wanted to put in a good performance. And that was probably the turning point of the game. If you look at it like that, from there we kind of dominated a little bit. But I wouldn't put it down to that.
Brad Cox-Goodyear obviously got on the scoreboard with 6 goals today. Did see him limping a bit towards the end of the game. I think he ended the match on the bench as well. Is he all good to go for next week, do you think?
Not sure yet. Bit of a tight hammy. I think it's coming from the back region as well. So he rested forward there and then came off late and we weren't going to risk it. You're right there. He did spend the last probably 3/4 of the last quarter on the bench. We weren't going to risk it. He'll get scans tomorrow or Monday and see where we're at.
Any other injury concerns from today?
No, I don't believe so. I think from the contest that we had, there'll be a few sore boys, but I think we got through okay other than those 2.
So fast approaching the business end of the season, now really almost in the midst of it at this stage. You happy with the way the group's coming together and with this final stretch leading into finals? Yeah, we've got a pretty tough stretch of games. The last 5 games for us is pretty tough. We've got 4 road trips within that. We've got Clarence next week at home and then two away games with North Hobart and Lauderdale to finish the season off. And I said it'll probably hold us in good stead and we'll see where we're at against the rest of the competition. And 2 games in, we're going okay. We've got another 3 to tick off before we can really reset ourselves for a big finish of the year. All right, so two tough games in consecutive weeks, PK. Today, top team in the competition. Yeah. How did you see today's performance?
I saw it as inconsistent. I spoke during the week about the fact that North Launceston are the most consistent team in the competition, and that's why they've been up there for a long time. And Glenorchy, a couple of years ago, were at that point as well. And we dropped away last year, and we're still trying to climb back up that hill. I thought first quarter into the wind, we played really well and executed what we wanted to do well, and then we start the second quarter with the wind, and really I think we kicked the first 3 of the second quarter and playing some great footy. And then, as you'd expect from North Lonnie, they answered back, and we just didn't turn the screws like we needed to. It's something we're trying to get better at, but it's taking time. I think one pleasing thing was early in the third quarter, with the wind, I think they kicked the first 2, and the game certainly could have got out of hand. And we really did a good job of pinching the momentum back. And we got it back in, I think, to 16 points, into the wind. And, had we been able to consolidate that, we go into 3/4 time, 2-3 goals down, kicking with the wind in the last quarter, and we give ourselves a real shot. But I think everyone saw a couple of ill-disciplined acts, which really changed the momentum of the game. And the game was determined a lot by territory, as it often is, and they were better at us than us at locking it in their forward line. And part of that, I guess, was just our skills were a little bit off today. And you give some credit to North Lonnie for their pressure, but also there's some basic stuff which wasn't under great pressure that we got wrong, that we'd usually get right. So, it was probably disappointing. I thought we'd really given ourselves a shot, heading into sort of the time on in that third term. And then the last quarter, it was a bit of a nothing quarter, wasn't it? They were pretty happy to lock it down, and they did a good job of that. They've been in that situation many times before.
You mentioned a couple of ill-disciplined acts throughout the game. Is that something that, I guess, is it a concern moving forward, or is it just, you think spirit of the moment, a couple of things just got out of hand for a couple of the boys? No, it's something we've got to get better at. And last week against Lauderdale was the same. Lauderdale, they pushed that line, and we got sucked in. The 2 games before that, Clarence and North Launceston got sucked in as well. And then today, it was a little bit different today, but just being smart and disciplined in those big moments. When you're kicking into the wind and you're back within 16 points, it's just not the time to give away 50-metre penalties. You just got to be really smart, keep the momentum on your side. So we've got to be better, and we've addressed it a couple of times already. And today, 3/4 time and post-game, and the good thing out of that is that a lot of the stuff today, which resulted in being a 6-goal ball game, are very fixable. So we don't walk out of that game thinking, we're off the pace. We aren't as good as North Lonnie at the moment, purely because they play the way they want to play more consistently than we do. And to be honest, we knew that coming in. And the challenge for us was, could we step up today and really match them? Because when we did play our footy, we were right around the mark. So that does give us some confidence. I was going to say, you've mentioned that North Lonnie are the best team in the competition, the team to beat. Do you see that come September, if you were to face North Launceston in, the business end of the season in the finals campaign, that you would have what it takes to topple them on a day like that?
Well, we'd have to be more consistent than today. I know it probably sounds boring and I'm repeating myself, but, you look at teams like Sydney and Hawthorn over the years, they do what they do all game. That's what a good team does. And North Lonnie do that. And they're really good at holding each other to account and making sure that they're disciplined throughout the game. So I don't think there's any doubt that when we play good footy for long periods of time, that we're a really tough opponent for anybody. So we have confidence, but we've got work to do. We're not going to win anything if we're playing 2.5 quarters of footy.
A few late changes before the game today. Obviously, Braden Webb not able to get up for the game. Do you think Braden and a couple of the other guys who were out of the side this morning would be, right to play the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we couldn't get on the ground this week. It was closed on Tuesday and Thursday, and so he couldn't train. And then we had a kick around last night, but he had an issue at work where he couldn't come. So we were hoping that he would play this week, but he just hadn't been able to train and test it out. So we had a chat and said, well, we've got to do the smart thing. So next week, I know I've said that a little bit, but we'd be surprised if he wasn't up. If he can get through a week of training, he'll play. We want him to play, that's for sure. And, Zach Webb's doing his second game back, just continues to build a little bit, and that's good. He's going to take him some time. I'm not going to blate the late outs. We had a good team out in the park. We showed that for significant patches of the game. And, we just weren't able to sustain it for long enough, and that's our challenge.
So a couple of teams out of the finals race you've got in the next few weeks. I guess it's been shown throughout the year that you can't take any game easily. So what would be the two, the key things you'll be focusing on ahead of the next 2 weeks against the Demons and the Tigers?
Well, the Demons first. They gave Clarence a good run for their money today. So we'll, pay a lot of attention to how they played and what they did, and they've got some of their really good young players back in as well. So that's going to be a challenge. I don't think they're going to be like they were earlier in the year, where there was some easy wins against them. You've got to play well if you off the game. And I saw Clarence kick something like 2 goals 13 in the first half, coming off the bye. And interestingly, against Lauderdale, we kicked 3 goals 12 in the first half, coming off the bye. So maybe from now on, if we have a week off, we'll just do goal kicking. I'm not sure, but it's we've just got to get that right this week. you can't sort of. There's only 4 games left until finals, so every game's important, and because it all builds up to how we're playing come sort of the second half of August when the real stuff starts.